Thank you all for joining us this evening. I'm Tiana Godsey, the events coordinator. My pronouns are she, her. I'd like to welcome you to our Outdoors Online iNaturalist Become a Community Scientist webinar with Julie Travaglini from Allegheny Land Trust. She's the Senior Director of Education and Curriculum. Many of you have probably seen her at other Outdoors Online, and if not, you're in for a treat. Thank you so much for joining us. So very quickly, a few brief things before we get started. This event will be recorded. If you have to leave, no worries. You will be able to get back in, and we will be sharing this recording with you after the event. Due to the webinar style, you will be muted throughout, but please feel free to use the Q&A or chat if you have any questions, and we will answer them as we go or at the end. And briefly before we begin, I'd like to introduce you to Natural Lands. Many of you are familiar with us, but we have a few new members joining us this evening, and I want to thank you for your support. We are a nonprofit organization serving Eastern PA and Southern New Jersey to preserve nature and nurture nature's wonders and create opportunities for joy and discovery in the outdoors for everyone. We've been at it since the early 1950s, and today nearly 5 million people live within 5 miles of lands under our permanent protection. So how do we do it? Our mission is to save open space by permanently protecting natural areas through acquisition and voluntary land protection agreements, and by helping communities preserve more of their land. We've saved more than 125,000 acres so far. We also care for nature, which we do by taking care of our network of 42 nature preserves and 1 public garden, Stoneleigh, which many of you noted as your favorite. Our preserves are located in 2 states and 13 counties, all of which total over 23,000 acres. And we also, most importantly to me, connect people with the outdoors and each other like we're doing this evening by creating opportunities for people to connect with and learn from nature. And brief moment to thank all the Natural Lands members. Your support makes all the stewardship work you see on our preserves and these events possible. If you are interested in joining, please feel free to check our website for more. And thank you so much for being here. I'm going to introduce our presenter, Julie, briefly. She's going to give some more background on Allegheny Land Trust as well. In her role as Senior Director of Education and Curriculum, she creates hands-on STEM and place-based lessons for children and adults alike, as well as providing state-accredited professional development for educators. Working in the field for almost 20 years, Julie regularly travels the country, speaking at national and international conferences on the importance of innovative environmental education for all. She's a community leader serving as the president of the Pennsylvania Association of Environmental Educators, maintaining leadership positions with the Western PA Mushroom Club and Penn State Extension Master Gardeners of Washington County, and holding board roles with Wild Ones and Beverly's Birthdays, Pittsburgh. Julie's also won multiple awards for her work, including Outstanding Environmental Educator of the Year and an Emerging Alumni Award from her bachelor's and master's alma mater, Muskingum University. In 2023, she self-published a children's book called Super Skills of Backyard Bugs. In her spare time, she can be found looking for mushrooms, enjoying national parks, watching football, and monitoring her fantasy football score or crocheting mythical creatures. Love that. Okay, Julie, take it away.
Wow, you guys got the long bio
I know,
today.
sorry, that was very long. I was like, I need to shorten that.
No worries. Let's see here. Let me pull up the presentation here to the beginning. All right, welcome. So yes, thank you for having me again. I love doing these talks for everyone and bringing, sometimes you have to bring nature indoors to people. Sometimes you just do, right? And these are the times I really like doing that because these are fun and try to be interactive. And I love bringing like a wide range of topics to folks, right, in the comfort of your own home. So, yes, thank you for that, Tiana. My name is Julie. I am the Senior Director of Education and Curriculum for Allegheny Land Trust. And if you've never heard of us before, totally not surprised because we are on the other side of the state, and we are a lot smaller than natural lands. So, ALT is a nationally accredited nonprofit, and our mission is very similar to natural lands, but our mission is to help local people save local land. So we've been around, oh my gosh, don't make me do the math. 20, 30, no, 30, 25. 33-ish years. Don't think about it. Wow, 1993 was 30 years ago. Okay. But we've been around over 30 years protecting green space, and we have just shy of 4,000 acres, which comparatively to natural lands is a very small amount, but we're working in a lot smaller space. And we have a kind of a unique model where we don't have a ton of easements, which essentially means um, you protect the space, but other people steward it or people may live on it, etc. So we actively care for most of those 4,000 acres in terms of stewarding for invasives and trail work and public programming and field trips for kids and all sorts of stuff. So 4,000 acres is still a lot. And those 4,000 acres are mostly in Allegheny County, which is the county Pittsburgh is in. So it's got we certainly have some really urban properties and certainly have some really rural ones. So it's a really diverse network of properties that we protect. And I get this super fun job at ALT. We're a team of how many people do we? 16. There's 16 of us at ALT, and two of us are educators. So if you come to an ALT education event, you're going to meet either me or Sarah. That's all we got teaching out there. But between us, we see between 6 and 8 thousand people a year at over 200 events. So everything like stuff like this, where I do webinars for different organizations and groups around the country, really, to summer camps for kids. We have an adult summer camp actually, where we do archery and learn to cook over a campfire. Super fun. And visits to classrooms and libraries and elder care homes and all sorts of stuff. So we always have something going on at ALT. I think we probably have 8 programs this week between everything we got going on. But I will put our email, or not our email, our website in the chat for you all so you can go out and check out some of the events we have that I know you're on the other side of the state, but we do a lot of virtual programming. Like Wednesday, I'm doing a free talk in the evening virtual on native plants. So that'll be fun. But I will put that in the chat and you can check out all the stuff that you can come to no matter where you live. So that's pretty cool and pretty fun. But today's chats, I think, gosh, we've done, what have I done? We've done talks on everything from fireflies, and we did, what else have we done? Oh gosh, we've done so many talks together now, but this talk in particular, I love giving because I am a huge nerd. And I'm a huge nerd in a really niche specific way, in that I like going out and just learning the names of things. I'm a name, like if you tell me your name, I will never forget your name ever. I've always been that way. I'm good at names, I'm good at faces. I was that person who like all the people in the room would like give me like the ear tug if they forgot somebody's name, and I'd be like, "Oh, hi Aaron, how are you?" Kind of thing. But this gives me an outlet for that in the fact that it helps you learn the names of all the stuff around you out in nature. And I always tell this story too because I am not a tech person. I hate technology. Someone told me today to download an app so I can check registration for an event, and I was like, absolutely not. I'm not downloading an app to check registration, to get on an airplane, to order chicken nuggets at Wendy's. I'm not doing that. So I'm not a big app person in general, and I'm not a big tech person, but this is the one piece I can get behind, and the one that I've kind of always enjoyed. At first, I will say probably back in like, gosh, it had to have been early days. It had to have been like 2014, when I first started using iNaturalist, and I was like, I don't get this. Why would people want to play on their phones in the woods? So I didn't use it for a few years. And then maybe like 8 or 9 years ago, I got ridiculously into it. And when I get into something, it is no holds bar, 0 to 100. And now I will plan entire vacations around whether or not this is a new place for me to use iNaturalist and find cool things. So it escalates quickly, know that. But I not just began way back in 2008, which I would have been a senior in college. And it was certainly, not on my radar as a senior in college to make something cool like this, but it certainly was for some master's students over at UC Berkeley. This came from them as part of a thesis project. I'm not sure exactly what they were studying over there, if it was technology or an environmental aspect that they thought to put the two together to make something really cool. But this has essentially revolutionized how we learn about the outdoors, how scientists are able to study organisms and track organisms and rediscover species we thought were lost. And it even has changed how places like land trusts can apply for money to protect spaces because we're able to use this app to show either what is there or what should be there based on what we have, but no one has found it. So it's really cool. And we'll talk about all of that and more. But it is free. I forgot to mention that. It's a free app, so you don't have to pay for it. But it's been around quite a bit now. It is undergoing kind of a revitalization currently, which someone asked about, like, why do I have two apps? I have iNaturalist Classic and iNaturalist. We'll talk about that here in a bit. That's really just the new version that's coming out. But anyone, anywhere can learn how to use this. If I, one of the most tech stubborn people out there, like I am a 38-year-old in like the wrong generation because I don't love it. But if I can figure it out, so can you. And hopefully today we'll be able to get you there and get you like a better understanding of all the things you can do with it and how you can use it and all that good stuff. And it's really, really kind of changed the game on how we learn about the world around us because this is essentially connecting nerds around the world with each other and to our environments so that we're able to help one another learn as well. And we'll talk about that too. But love it. Here to hopefully help you learn some. Um, okay, Tiana, I was good on my math. Okay. I'm so bad at math. It is not, it is, oh, it was my worst. I am a science-minded person through and through. That's for sure. Sometimes it comes hand in hand for people, not for me. All right, so joining iNaturalist, there's lots of ways you can do it. You can join iNaturalist via an app on your phone or the website. I myself love to be on the website to do most things on iNaturalist. I use my phone version of iNaturalist basically solely to upload photos of the things I find. Otherwise, I like to be on the computer because you can just do so much more on like people my age, my generation call it the big computer, like the big internet, as opposed to your phone is the little internet. Like, oh, this requires the big internet. I like to be on the big internet, the computer, to do most of the things because there's a lot more you can do on the web platform that we'll see here in a moment. But you just go to iNaturalist.org and the homepage will look like this. You won't see the same photo because something that's just really fun that they do is they change the photo up all the time. I don't know if it's daily. They do have an observation of the day, which is really cool, but they change the photo constantly. So like it will not be that little weevil again the next time you log in. So you get to see things from all over the world, which is really fun. But you can see there that'll be mine says welcome back because I have an account. But if you look right below the green login button, you'll see the don't have an account, sign up. And it's really easy to do. And it asks you all the standard questions of, your name and do you want to upload a photo? Do you want to upload a bio? Silly little things like that, that is with every account on the planet at this point. But once you sign up and you have an account, one, write down your password because then you'll be like me today trying to figure out. I got logged out and had to go find my master password sheet that I have somewhere and find my password, which is always a pain, so make sure you write it down. But once you sign up and you have an account, it'll take you to this page. This is your iNaturalist homepage on the web. It's going to look different on your phone, but here's what it looks like on the web. And I decided, like, I put some features on here to like point out different things, but what I decided I'm going to do is just pull up my iNaturalist account and show you some of the cool stuff you can see. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen, and instead, I'm going to share another screen and just show you some of the really fun stuff you can do on iNaturalist. Okay. Can you see my iNaturalist page now? All
Yes.
right. So this is your home screen. That is my username. You can certainly find me on iNaturalist and follow me or tag me in things that you want help identifying. That's a-okay by me. But I just want to show you the main screen. So if you look at the very tip top, at this very top gray bar right underneath all my million open tabs, don't make fun of me for those. Those are my emotional support tabs. I need every single one open every day or I cannot function. But on this gray iNaturalist tab, you can hit the button Explore. And what Explore does is it brings you to this big old map, and you can see all of the observations made everywhere all around you, and it's struggling to know where I am for some reason right now. I must have turned that off for some reason, but you can zoom in. I think I'm zooming in the right direction of Pennsylvania. Oh man, I'm good. I'm real close. But you can find your exact address if you would like. And I'm actually going to see if I can do that because I want to show you, where is it? Why is it doing this? Why does it not know where I am? Allow. iNaturals can always, there we go. I must have turned it off for something. But I can zoom in. This is my town. This is where I live. I'm going to zoom in. Gee, I wonder where I live. You can find me pretty quick on the map because I've made a ton of observations. Where's my property line? The more you zoom in, you can find my house. What route do I walk my dog in? You can kind of track my daily life through this, but we'll talk about projects a little later as well. But I've created a project for my backyard, and I log every cool thing I find in my yard just to keep track of like all the neat creatures and mushrooms and birds and bugs that I found in my yard, and I'll just pick one up. Ooh, a fall field cricket. Found that last year. But it just shows you what's around you. A bee. I didn't know what bee it was, I guess. Oh, that was from just a couple weeks ago. Street tails. I don't. Oh, that was me. See, look, I don't even know half the time what I find. Cool, cool stuff. Leaf beetles, all sorts of stuff. So essentially, the explore button really just shows you what's all around you. You can pull up other people's identifications and see, like, oh, what can I expect to find? That wasn't very helpful. That's just a plant, and it says dicot, so that person didn't know what they found either. Sidewalk fire dot. Oh, I must have been walking my dog. That was me. I feel like a lot of the ones I would randomly pick up here are probably me. Cool, a click beetle. So all sorts of cool stuff all around you. And you can see um that green box right there that says observations. 267 million observations around the world. So as I zoom out, you can see the darker red it is, the more observations there are. So just absolutely incredible amounts of data. Feral pigeons. Somebody saw a pigeon. Surprise. They're everywhere. So that's the explore button. And then if I hit my observations, that's going to take me and show me the map. It's a very similar map to the last one we just saw, but it's going to show you only your observations. So you can go back and see how many observations you have made, and you can see again, big fat nerd, over 8,000 observations. And what I love doing on this page, and is really fun, is you can be like, man, I feel like I saw like a ton of mushrooms this year. How many mushroom species have I found? You can go to this filters button, and I want to see research grade means more than one person has agreed upon what you have seen because you'll make an identification and then someone else who's really smart or knows a whole lot about nature will come on and be like, yeah, that's absolutely a North American destroying angel. I agree with that observation. And once multiple people agree, it becomes research grade. But let's see how many mushrooms. 571 species of agreed upon mushrooms. So you can do this with, just about anything. If you want to know how many needs identification still, like how many species of mushrooms do I have listed, but no one's agreed upon them? Well, let's see what that number is. 328 potentially. Um, that I still need someone to be like, yeah, I agree. I know what that is. So it's really cool. I can show you birds real quick. Let's just do research grade. Instead of mushrooms, let's do birds. I'm not very good at birds, so it's probably 83 birds. Okay, that's an okay amount of birds, but I'm not very good at birds. So really fun. And then it'll show you like how many people have helped you ID that as well. So here's the list of people who have helped me identify the birds that I've found. And it's really fun because you'll get to know these people. You'll see like number 11, B. Coulter, that's my mushroom friend's husband. And N.R. Peters, I know lives like 3 blocks from me. Jay Kester is my old boss. So like you'll see all these people chiming in and helping you learn along the way. And you'll get some great friendships out of it too. I know we have a Pittsburgh Naturalist group chat now on it was on WhatsApp, but I think it moved to Signal. But and we have get-togethers. It's just really fun. So that is your observations. You can kind of filter through everything you've found. They appear on the map, and you can choose from the map. Or you've got a little scroll down list. It looks like oh, I haven't made some observations in a while. It's been like a week. I should, get on that. I used to be really good about making like an observation a day. I don't do that anymore. I feel like I have to draw the line at some point. Community is fun. Communities where you can search for people or projects, which we'll kind of look. I'll show you projects really quickly. Projects essentially means you are helping a group of people identify in a really specific spot. So here we see people have joined the freshwater gastropods of the world. Certainly not a group or a project I'm going to be a part of because that is not my expertise. Or Australasian fishes, absolutely not. Um, not going to be very helpful at all. Australian sawfly observations. So there's projects all over the place, but you can look specifically at the ones you have joined. So let me show you my home project. In my backyard alone, I have observed 1,341 times just in my own backyard. And my backyard is not like acres, it is like postage stamp size. Like I can throw a ball and hit about 8 people's yards from my house. It is tiny. Um, so here's all the things because I set up a project, which is kind of like iNaturalist Advanced, but I'm willing to help you individually do that. It's way too hard to describe via, iNat 101 here. But you can create a project and track solely in my backyard. So like I can track, that's all over the place, but I zoom in and I find my yard and it takes you to that big old map and here I am. Everything that's within my property boundary here, which happens to be fenced in, um, is in that project. So I can go back and see how many mushrooms are I found in my yard and how many of anything truly that you find in your yard, which is fun. Identify is something you have to do on your laptop. You cannot do it on your phone, at least not yet anyway. But you can come and these are everybody's observations all over the planet. And I'm certainly not going to identify in a place I don't know. So I am just going to pull up Pittsburgh region and hit go. And I can see all of the observations people have made in Pittsburgh. And I'm going to pull up one. And here's their observation. They observed this moth and they think it is a sycamore tussock moth. And I agree with that. I'm pretty sure That's what that is. So I'm also going to hit agree. And you see when I hit agree that this button up here next to the name Sycamore tussock moth changes to research grade. So when you upload something, which we will walk through how to upload something, don't worry. But when you upload something, somebody else comes through and says, yes, I agree, and it becomes research grade, which essentially means that scientists can use that data in scientific publications, which is really cool. I know, yep, they think it's purple flowering raspberry. I know that's what it is, so I'm gonna say agree. Monkey flowers. They said monkey flower, but I can tell that that is Allegheny monkey flower. So I'm going to go ahead and even add the species. Now, if I add it down to a species, somebody has to agree with that species. So once they agree with me that it's that species, it'll go to research grade. Or they can disagree and say it's something else, and then it'll just it is. Oh, bunnies. People, the lots of bunnies, bunnies, bunnies. You could go through Chicken in the Woods. I'd have to look closely at that one to make sure. But yeah, so you can go and help other people. That's how I got to how many observations I have. If you look on the right, just in the Pittsburgh region, I've reviewed 6,915 observations for other people just in Pittsburgh. So it kind of tracks it by like region too. So fun stuff. You can go on and help if you have like an area of expertise. You can, or just browse and see what people are finding. That's always fun too. This homepage also will kind of go through these really quickly. Home profile, this is where you can upload interesting things or follow people, kind of get your overall statistics of, oh, I have 66 followers. That's more than I have on Instagram. Big nerd shout out there. I've made 34,000 IDs for people, 2,600 species. You can just find all those stats under there. Observations, this is again another way to get to your observations. There's multiple ways to get to everything on iNat, which is really nice. But you can get to your observations again. Edit observations. If there's one that you're like, oh, that one wasn't great, or I think it like might be a duplicate, I put it in there twice. You can go here and delete it if you want. Go, here's where you IDs, here's where you go on and it gives you a record of all the identifications you've made for other people. Lists, I don't have any, at least I don't think so. Yeah, I haven't made a life list is essentially things you want to find in your life. So like yeah, there's mushrooms that are like that's a lifer. People you'll hear people say like, oh, that's a lifer bird. That's just like on your life list of things you want to see in your life. I have not made one. You can even find favorites, things that you can add. You can add a little star to an observation, something that was really cool. Here's a really cool one. This is a lifer for me. Somebody found it, not me. But this really bright blue, amazing cobalt crust, totally a lifer, and it's out by you. So jealous that you all, let's see, it has not been seen a whole ton at all on this side of the state, but you all are lucky. Look at your side. Look at all that red. That's where the cobalt crust has been found. So it's also iNaturalist you can use to data mine. So if there's something you really want to see like this cobalt crust, I can go on iNaturalist and be like, okay, where do I live? All the way over here. Where is the closest place it's been found to me? And then as long as that person has not obscured their data, I can see exactly where it is. So I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to see, this is the closest one to me. Where is it? Ooh, cool. October 2020. So the odds of it still being there, not great. But yeah, there it is. That was the only observation in Pittsburgh. So pretty cool. We'll go back. I love to data mine on iNaturalist. It is still a little bit of a treasure hunt because, like, you can, I mean, it's just like anything. It's not always exactly precise. So you could be like, I am standing on the pinpoint where this really giant thing is supposed to be, and I don't see it. So you do have to put it down and walk around a little bit. But it's pretty good to help you get an idea of where it is. Projects. This is where you can join projects. I know at Allegheny Land Trust, we have a project for every single one of our conservation areas, our big conservation areas. So I'll just pull up like Audubon Greenway is a conservation area. And if you're in this as like the project homepage, you can go and see there's been 871. I was 549 of them because I'm at that property all the time. But 455 species of plants, animal, insect, fungi found at just this green space by 12 people. There have been 12 people that made observations there. And most of us worked at the land trust. That's me. It's my old boss. That's our old stewardship person. It's like a lot. Sometimes it's a lot of us, but I'll pick another one. Barking Slopes is another great one. I know I'm not the top person there. Um, 653 species. And that's about 80 acres. So just imagine how much stuff there is out there to learn. Um, that is a researcher who is out all the time, like almost daily at the property. And that is my coworker, Sarah, who's the other educator. She lives right by there, and that's her favorite property to walk. So, um, pretty interesting stuff. You can scope out different conservation areas and locations. Zoos sometimes will have one set up for like the stuff you see walking the grounds, all sorts of stuff. You can make one for your yard. And then I'll just real quick go over this little tab here, your content. This is where you see all of the things people have helped you with. So this is people commenting or IDing on stuff that you specifically uploaded. You can check that out. I actually had that labeled blue phlox, and someone was like, no, I don't think that's right. So that was cool. I was like, oh, creeping phlox. Okay. This is everything. And I'll go down here. This is a fun one. So I just realized this. I made this initial observation of this fuzzy little caterpillar in 2019, August 3rd, 2019, 6 days ago. Someone figured out what it was. So it's not like a blip in time. Like it's out there for a really long time, and there are experts like this Kate the Great is all over the insects. Like I see her doing a ton of insect work, even till, like going back on things 6 years ago, and making identification. So it's really cool in that regard. All right, I'm gonna exit this portion and go back to the PowerPoint so I can show you how to actually like make an observation. Whoops, I guess it helps if I hit share screen, doesn't it? What is that? This one. This one, yep. And we'll go back to this one. Homepage. Current slide. All right. So to make an observation on iNaturalist from your computer, you're going to want to be on that home screen and you want to go. See that red circle? There's a big old green upload button on the home screen that you're going to use to upload photos. So you're going to hit upload. It's going to take you to a screen that looks like this. You're going to choose your files, and you're going to want to make sure that like if you took the photos on your phone or you took them on a camera, that you like email them to yourself, or better yet, if you have them on like a camera card, you insert the camera card directly into your computer to upload them so that you're able to get the data off the photos as well, because that's going to load what day and time the photo was taken on, where it was taken, which is really going to help with the identification of that organism that is on your photo. So once you choose a photo or photos, and we'll talk about what kind of photos you should and should not do on here, it's going to take you to this screen. And it's going to show you your photo. And if you look over there on the left, it's going to say species name. And when you click on that, it'll give you suggestions. Now, it's AI, and AI has come a long, long, long way, especially in the last year or so, and it's gotten a lot better. But I will say you should never trust it down to species unless you yourself know what it is. It'll say, we're pretty sure it's in this genus or tribe or order. But rarely will it ever get it down to species, and that's okay. Especially if it's something you're planning planning to eat, never trust it 100%. You need to have a human tell you whether or not that is something edible, because people have died using AI generated content, whether it's Seek or PlantSnap or Google Lens or all the millions of them that are out there. You need to have a person say yes or no who's an expert at that. But you click on species name and it'll give you some suggestions. The date and location will generally automatically fill in if the data is there on the photo. You can always manually add that as well. Um, you'll see that little box underneath notes that says location is public. That is one that I generally leave public unless it is an endangered or threatened species. Or if I'm doing real-time data, I'll obscure it. And maybe that's because I watch entirely too many crime shows, but I never put my location in real time. Um, Too many crime shows out there. I've watched way too many to tag exactly where I'm at in the woods alone, because 98% of the time I'm alone. So I'm not going to do that. But if I'm just out with a group or out for work or out with, traveling with my partner and we're out hiking, I will generally leave it public. You can private, which will show no data whatsoever of where it was. That doesn't help with identifying things. Or you can obscure it, which is generally what I do. If it's something rare or something special or something like people obscure their morel findings because they don't want people to take their morel spot, things like that. So you can choose how much you share in that area. Captive cultivated is if it is a domestic animal, a pet, or say you go to Phipps and you take a picture of the flower in Phipps, that is not a wild flower. So you would hit that button, captive or cultivated, meaning it is domesticated or it was specifically planted. And we'll talk about the importance of that here in a bit. The project button, I generally don't tag anything. You can do tags like anything really. It's essentially like a hashtag. But you want to make sure projects, and I know, Tiana, you guys are getting ready to do a bio blitz. Do you have a project for your bio blitz, I'm assuming? Yep. So this is where if you're going to do the Natural Lands bio blitz, you want to make sure you join their project. And the project, I think this was probably in preparation for one of the city nature challenges, which we'll talk about here in a bit as well. So make sure you join the project so that you get to be able to have your observation count towards the project. And then you come over here and you hit submit observation. And then that's it. It's submitted. You're good to go. That's all you got to do. It's very intuitive. It's not too complicated. And once you do it a few times, you'll realize it is way like you're probably thinking like, oh, gosh, that was like 8 buttons, Julie. What do you mean it was that easy? A lot of those fill in for you, remember? A lot of those fill in for you. So, it's really not too bad. You just got to go out and practice it. I was awful at it at first. In fact, like a couple months ago, one of my friends shared with me, it popped up on her Facebook memories of me. She works in a similar field. She works for the National Park Service. And I had written on her Facebook wall, like 10 years ago, like, I can't figure out this iNaturalist thing. Have you done this yet? And she sent it to me and was like, times have changed, haven't they? So you'll certainly get better at it. It's just like anything. You got to practice and do it a few times. So we're going to look at making an observation on your iPhone, and I only have an iPhone, so I have the instructions written out to an iPhone. They're a little different on Android, but the buttons themselves are called the same thing. They just might be in a different place. So keep that in mind. This is for iPhone. It looks different on an Android. The buttons are called the same. They just might look a little different. So when you log into the app, once you download the app for free from the App Store, it's a little green bird called iNaturalist Classic. There's two now. I'll tell you that in a second. Um, when you log in, and it's the same login on the web version and the app, this is your home screen. It looks very different. Not as many features on it. There's not as much you can do. Like you can't identify here. You can explore, but it's not to the level you can explore. Like you can't use the filters or anything here to look for stuff. But you can basically see what's around you, see under activity there, that little bell who has commented on any of your posts. You can observe, and you can look, this is me. So this is what you get when you hit me. It's just your observations. And more, I forget what's under more, but it's not very much exciting. It's like two things. Let me see real quick what it is, and I'll tell you. Oh, it says projects now. So that's now a button that says projects. So to make an observation on your iPhone, you're going to hit the middle observe button. And now there are two ways you can do it. You can observe directly in the app, which means the photo you take in the app automatically uploads and it doesn't go to your camera roll. The issue with that is you don't get to choose the best photos, and it only takes a few. And it takes a lot of your battery power as well, and a lot of data. So, what I like to do is take the photos out in the field, and then once I'm back home and I can plug my phone in and I can plug into Wi-Fi, which makes the observation data set better anyway, it makes it more accurate. I do all of the observations once I'm back at home, and that's also for my safety too. In the fact that I don't want to be stranded in the woods with a dead phone, and I don't want people in real time knowing where I am in the woods by my observations. They could find me on any trail. So I wait till I'm home to do that. So you hit the observe button and it takes you to your camera roll, and then you can choose photos. It used to be, you see at the top where it says select up to 4 items. That was my biggest gripe. I thought about getting rid of my iPhone for an Android solely for this reason, because for a long time on iPhone, you could only upload 4 photos, and that stunk. Like sometimes you need more than 4 pictures to get a good idea. They've since done away with that. You can now do more than 4. I'll have to take a new picture where that's not on there. But you choose the photos you want, and we'll talk about what makes a good photo or a not good photo here in a bit as well. You choose your photos, and then it comes to the screen, which is all of the same information as what was on the main web screen. It just looks a little different. So you'll say, what did you see? That's going to be the species that you saw on the web version. And when you click on that, it might give you some suggestions. It filled in the date and location for me. Geo-privacy, that's going to be whether or not your location is private. So remember on the web screen, it said location is private, location is public. This one is geo-privacy, and you click on it and it just says public, obscured, private. It's the same information. Captivated, captive, cultivated. This was wild, so that is going to say no. It will default to no unless you click on that button. So it will always say no unless you change it. And then there's the project again, and this was again for when we did one of the city nature challenges. So I was reminding people to make sure they joined that project if they had to. So iNat has also updated from there's traditional projects, which you have to click on every single time you make an observation, to there's also now collection projects, which depending on how you set them up, um, Fiona, I'm not sure which one your BioBlitz will be. Collection projects, you just have to join the project one time, and then anything collected within the spatial parameters and date set up by whoever set up the project, um, everything is counted in that, and you no longer have to click on that every single time. So there's both. So it depends on what way you have set them up. So make sure people know that there's 2 ways, whether or not they have to click it every time or just join one time. Once you have added any projects you need to add, you hit the save button. And once you hit save, it comes to this main home screen again, and then you just hit the little green upload arrow. And once you hit the upload arrow, you are done. So that is all, and then it becomes just a white background, and that means it is officially on your list here, on your list of species. So someone asked at the very beginning, they now have iPhone or they now have iNaturalist and iNaturalist Classic. So what that is they launched a new version of iNaturalist for iPhone only. It is not on the web and it is not available to Android yet. So what you're seeing is Classic, which makes me feel ancient. Um, Classic is the old version, and iNaturalist without anything else on it is the new version. This is what the home screen looks like on the new version. You have a while to use Classic because it has only been out, gosh, I want to say they were beta testing it about a year ago. A group I was in got to go and meet the executive director of iNat, and we were like, just like, they were like, he was like, let's test it out. And we tested it out there. But since it's not out for web or Android yet, keep on using Classic. You can have them both. The account is exactly the same. If you pull up one, it is going to update the other. Or if you add something on the new one, it will show up on your classic account. So it's all the same. You can choose which one you want to use. Eventually, they will no longer, like, the classic will no longer be supported and you'll need to download the new one, but you got a while because, again, it's only out for iPhone so far. So I didn't want to go over that one fully since it is only available to a small, subset of folks. A lot of similar stuff there, just looks different. So let's go over some rules of thumb for using iNaturalist. iNaturalist is for living or once living things only. That means no rocks. Rocks do not count on iNaturalist. It is great. You can upload photos of roadkill. You can upload tracks in the snow. There can be evidence of animals, but it has to be living or once living. I tell people no domesticated, captive, cultivated things because it does clog up the data and it makes it harder for scientists to filter through it. If you are going to upload something captive or cultivated, make sure you mark it. It has to be marked or it can throw off scientific data really, really quickly. So don't upload photos of your cat. Like we don't need to see like your cat on iNat. But if you absolutely must, make sure you mark that your cat is captive cultivated because I don't think you have a jaguar living in your home. And even then, it's probably a domesticated jaguar, and or you need to call somebody if that is what's happening in your home. And there again is that button, that captive cultivated button that you need to hit if you're going to go to FIPS and upload the plants at FIPS, or go to the zoo and upload an animal at the zoo. One species per observation. This is a big one. So you can take a photo that has lots of things in it, but if you want to know what something is, you gotta circle the one you want identified. So right there, I'm circling the big dragonfly nymph in that photo because otherwise you're just going to get invertebrates or something like that. You're never going to get it down specific because you didn't say which one you want specifically identified. And that goes for all of your photos. You want to make sure sometimes, and this happens accidentally, I've done it too, where you go to upload 4 photos and you get 3 of one thing, and then your finger slips and you hit something else, and you've got 3 trees and a frog, uploaded under one observation on iNat. So just double checking that it's only one thing per observation and only pictures of one species. And if there's more than one, you have circled which one you want identified. Always label it something. So unknowns on iNaturalist are a lot less likely to get identified by an expert as opposed to something labeled plant, animal, fungi, including lichens. Like you can get that general with it. There's even a state of matter of life because sometimes I won't know if something was left by a fungus or a bug, and I'll put state of matter of life, or I'll guess I think it's an insect, but maybe it was a fungus, and I'll put that in the notes. But always label it something. You know whether it's a plant or an animal or a fungi 99.9% of the time. And that's a lot easier. A lot of experts will go in and search like plants and go in and start like identifying people's plants as opposed to like not many people go in and search solely the unknowns. More details, the better. If you can leave notes on, say, this mushroom was growing on a piece of pine wood or a piece of soil or a piece of poop, if it was on an animal poop. So more details, the better. And always take multiple photos. And we're going to look at photos here specifically as like some of the last things we do here. But you need multiple photos. One photo is almost never enough to identify something, especially like a mushroom or an insect down to species. And when you take multiple photos, sorry if you hear barking, my dogs are wrestling in the background. And they are in the yard carrying on. We got a puppy. Well, he wasn't supposed to be a puppy, but he's totally a puppy, and he is just terrorizing our other dog currently. So I'm sorry if you hear that in the background. But when you take photos, you want a top view of whatever it is, a side view, a front view, especially if it's like an insect, so we can see the face. If it's a plant, get a photo of the whole plant so we can see like what its makeup is and how big it is. Get a photo of the stem if you can, because sometimes whether a stem is hairy or not is the identifying feature. Get a photo of the leaves and how they're arranged on the stem. Get a picture of the flowers if it's flowering. If it's a mushroom, take a picture of the cap and the stem, the spore surface, so whether it's got pores or gills or nothing that you see on the underside of it. Get a photo of what it's growing on, all of that stuff. So you want to make sure you're getting all the angles you can as possible. I know sometimes it's hard because things are moving. That's why I'm not very good at birds. They don't hold still for photos. But try to get as many photos of different angles and parts of the organism as you can. Now, I want to show you some not great examples of photos because we can talk about them all we want, but until you see some things you shouldn't do, sometimes you're tempted to do these things. And these are all photos I pulled from my naturalist from Pennsylvania very recently. So I'm sorry if any of your photos are on here, but they were public and I am shaming them. But that first one on the left, oh, kid totally did that. I saw it. It's getting up for that time of year, and I love that science teachers are teaching their kids to use iNaturalist, but a lot of times they're not using them to teach it correctly. So then you have people like me who spend hours on it, like filtering through stuff like this. And here's a kid who took like an AI generated image of some sort of wild cat and put it in there, or it's a trail cam from another part of the world. I have no idea. But either way, that animal is not in Pennsylvania. And he had many comments on it, like, where'd you get this? Kind of thing, because people were just like, ah, kids these days. Old lady over here. The second photo, tracks and signs of animals are fantastic, but that's not helpful. That is just snow everywhere. Honestly, it was probably your neighbor. You are never going to know what that was unless you zoom in on a specific track. But who knows what that massive going on was there in the middle. Some sort of rumpus took place there. Could have been a kid, could have been a deer. Who knows what was in that snow. The third picture there, I see this a lot, where folks will take a photo of just like the entire forest understory and be like, "What's this?" I'm like, plants. Little green plants. I have no idea what you want me to tell you that is. Um, so being really specific on what it is, especially in the winter, you gotta get up close to that bark because that's the only way to identify stuff in the winter. There's no leaves, there's no flowers. So if you're gonna use iNat in the winter, you've got to get up close to like the bark of the tree or plant or whatever it is that you want identified. More bad examples. The one on the left, far left, is mushrooms, and who knows what kind because that's the only thing we got. Is that there's some orange lumps on a log. Who knows if they have pores or gills or what going on there. So we're gonna take mushrooms and make sure you pluck one and take a picture of the underside. The second one was not labeled cultivated or captive when clearly that was not a wildflower. So this person wanted to use it to ID what that plant was, but didn't mark it as such. So now, the scientists will have to wade through that to see that that was not indeed a wild growing plant. And then that albino crocodile was at the zoo, and not labeled captive cultivated. So, I mean, here in Pittsburgh, we do get alligators in the rivers, but that's because people dump their pets. So I guess, but that was not in Pittsburgh. I checked because you never know here. Truly, you never know. And like every summer, people put alligators in the river. It's insane, insane, and more than one. Like it's not just like one alligator, it's like numerous alligators happening in the summertime because people reptile shows are great. I love reptiles. I've had them my entire life, but like a 16-year-old should not be able to give you $50 and get an alligator, right? And then, 2 years later, when the alligator outgrows the kiddie pool, they're let loose in the river. So you know how that goes. Maybe you don't. Hopefully you don't, but we do here. And last but not least, I found this photo and I have so many questions about this. So, like, this was uploaded to iNaturalist. One, no one needs to see your cat. Two, it wasn't labeled as anything, it was unknown. And I was like, I'm confused. Three, are you cooking the cat? Why is it next to a giant pot? And four, I put that black bar there because those are medications and the person's private info was on there. They like their phone number and address was like on the medication labels. So please don't share with the world your personal information, even accidentally on iNaturalist. So this was one that I just stopped and was like, I don't know what to look at first in this photo. The cat, the fact that the cat's next to like a potential pot of, or crock pot. I don't know. There's a lot happening in this photo, and we should probably just not with that and your pets and leave your personal info off too. So make sure you're just being cautious. Something questionable in the background. Give it a second glance before you hit upload. All right, so we are running super low on time, but I wanted to go over the City Nature Challenge happens the end of April every year, and it's essentially like the world's biggest BioBlitz, where cities from all around the world compete to see who can, well, it's not a competition anymore. They took the competition away over COVID. Um, but cities around the world challenge each other to identify the most biodiversity in the world. And it's really cool. In 2025, it happens at the end of April every year. So it's 4 days. Um, in those 4 days, people made over 3.3 million observations. 669 cities in 62 countries documented over 73,000 different species. Incredible. 3,300 of them were rare, threatened, endangered, and there's even a couple that were rediscovered. We thought they were extinct, and people out participating in the City Nature Challenge documented it, and scientists were like, holy cow, we thought we hadn't seen that since like the 60s. And someone documented it somewhere. So that happens every year. It's insane. I put the picture of Cape Town there because Cape Town wins most years with like number of species and observations. It's kind of unfair because in our part of the world, end of April stinks. Like there's not a whole lot out. So we don't have as much biodiversity to document as like somewhere experiencing summer or fall that has, more out and about and just is more diverse of an area anyway. I will say our goal in Pittsburgh every year is to beat Philly and Cleveland. So we have small goals, but we never do it. So that is the one time I will say Philadelphia is better than Pittsburgh. The one and only time is City Nature Challenge time. That's it. That's the only time. Enjoy that while it lasts, because as soon as football season starts, you guys might as well be another planet. Stay on your side, Eagles fans. But in 2025, in just Pittsburgh alone, 10,000 observations of over 1,700 species by 500 plus people. And I wanted you all to guess um, the most observed species in 2025 across the world. What do you think it was? What do you think the most observed species across this entire entire world for 2025, what do you think it was? Put it in the chat. What do you think the most observed species was? A turkey tail, monarch, house sparrow, pigeons. Nope, wasn't any of those. Ah, luckily it wasn't the spotted lanternfly. That would have been really sad. Ants, that's a good guess. Some of the most numerous creatures on the planet. Mosquito, thankfully not two. A bee, nope. It was dandelion. So the dandelion was the most observed species for the City Nature Challenge in 2025. Now, what do you think the most observed species worldwide over the past 10 years? So the City Nature Challenge has been going on 10 years. Over that 10 years, what species has the most observations? What do you think it is? What do you think the most observed species across the 10 years has been? Nobody wants to guess. Oh, monarch? Nope. Worms? No, not worms either, surprisingly. You guys are never gonna guess. This is a crazy one. I almost didn't believe it. It's not also a dandelion, Veronica. That is a great guess. Not an orchid. It's not English ivy. It's not even a plant. It's not a plant. Or a tree. It's not a bug. Are you ready? Squirrel, a pigeon. Ready to see? Do do do. It's a mallard duck. That one always I never would have guessed a duck. I would have gone directly to one of the insects because that's so numerous. I would have gone to insect. I maybe would have gone to something like dandelion or around here it's garlic mustard. But yeah, it's a mallard, which is pretty cool. Good old mallards. All right, but anyway, I wanted to include this fun photo because the executive director, Scott Laurie of iNaturalist, came to Pittsburgh last year and we got to do a bio blitz with him, which was really cool to be able to do a bio blitz. And we found over 100 species in an hour at Frick Park, which is one of our city parks. So it was awesome and really cool. And I wanted to throw that in there. But hopefully, you all have learned something today about iNaturalist and some of the things you can do with it, whether that be tracking what's in your own backyard or using it to find something you've been looking for a long time, or just, how you can use it to start learning more about the world around you on a walk. So, thank you all for coming, and I'm happy to take any and all questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Julie. That was wonderful. We did have a couple questions. There was
Yeah.
one, why are some of the markers red and some blue and others green? I think that was when you were in the world view on the iNaturalist.
Oh. It probably has to do with what they were. So iNat likes to color code things based on like insect, mushroom, bird. Yeah, that's probably why you were seeing it.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, different colored pins for different taxa, essentially.
We had someone ask, what if they don't know what anything is called? And you kind of answered that with just kind of give it the at least family name.
Yep, plants. You can call it just plants. You can call it just animals, and it'll pop up Animal Kingdom. Fungi, including lichens, insects, bees. Get as specific as you can, but don't limit yourself. If you truly have no idea, you can do state of matter life, but 99% of the time you can get it down to insect or plant or animal. So that's an option. Label it something.
And then are you able to tag a project if you know that it relates to an observation you've posted? Or
As
is
long
that
as you've joined it, yeah. So I can't, if I'm not joined in a project, I cannot add it to that project. You have to join the project. If it's set up as a traditional project, you have to add it every time if you're out and about. And say you hike, like I love going to Powder Mill Nature Reserve. Every time I observe a mushroom there, I make sure I add it to their project. But if it's set up as, it depends on how it's set up. If it's set up as a um, collection project, all you have to do is join it once, and then everything you make within those parameters set up by the project, it will add to it.
perfect? Thank you so much.
Hmm.
Uh, does anyone have any other questions or comments for Julie? Oh, will the recording be posted somewhere? Yes, I will be sending the recording to everyone afterwards, probably at least a week's time. So you'll be able to go back and watch. But yeah, thank you so much, Julie. If
You're
anyone does
welcome.
have any other questions or comments, you can leave them in the chat or feel free to send them along to me. I will also provide Julie's contact info, which is on the screen as well. If you
Yep.
have any questions, you feel free to ask her. And we hope you enjoyed learning all about iNaturalist and how you can contribute to real-time science and data collection ongoing at our preserves and be a big nerd. I love it.
Nerd,
Um,
nerd, nerd,
nerds,
nerd.
nerds, nerds are the best. Best thing to be. So
Yes.
stay tuned this fall.
Yeah.
We have more Outdoors Online coming, hosted with Julie. It's September 11th. We'll be learning about fall and winter gardening for wildlife. And then October 2nd, I'm very excited for this one, which is Nature's Vampires and Zombies. Or is it
Ooh, I love
Zombies
that
and
one. Yep.
Vampires? I'm not sure. But yeah,
Yes, that's a
very
good one.
excited.
Talking about m- insect brain controlling fungi and lampreys and ticks and mosquitoes, which sound creepy, but they're so fascinating.
I'm so excited to learn all
I
about that.
think December we're doing spiders too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna
And
do spiders in December.
November's coyotes. So we're learning a lot of awesome things.
Yes.
We have like one good thing a month.
Cool, cool, fun. I love when people pick the fun, like niche stuff to learn about.
Yeah. Thank you, Julie. You've been teaching us all so many awesome things. So
You're welcome.